All right, you all. So we're bringing up our next speaker. So yes, in the chat, go ahead and drop how you enjoyed learning about farming on a bigger scale. I know a lot of you all had questions surrounding around growing small. And again, bring those questions to the VIP session and hopefully we'll try to answer them for you. As far as land, if you all don't know, I actually have a course called How to Buy Land. And that teaches you how to actually find the land that you want your farm to be on. So I actually help you throughout that process. I'm also a farmer too. If you all are curious, I'm a farmer too. I have a farming page called The Girly Black Farmer, where I take you all throughout my farming journey. I've taken you all throughout my journey to becoming a farmer. I went to farm school, and from farm school to buying land, now building land, and now building my eco retreat space. So we have Togbe here. And he is our next speaker that we are bringing on. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you let me know if you can start your video or if I have to make you a host? All right, you should be able to start your video. Welcome, welcome. All right,
Hi,
I'm going to
everyone.
give the
Hi, everyone.
stage to Togbe. I didn't get a chance to introduce yourself, so please introduce yourself. Let people know where you are at in the world, as well as what your session is going to be, and I'll hop off and let you take over.
Brilliant. Thank you, Herbal. And hello, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to be here today. My name is Togbe Dzatafia. I'm a herbalist, spiritualist, and traditional doctor hailing from the Volta region of the Republic of Ghana. I'm a certified traditional medicine practitioner with the Traditional Herbalist Association of Ghana in West Africa. Finally, I'm also a member of the Traditional Medicine Practice Council, which is part of the Ministry of Health of the Republic of Ghana. Once again, it's my pleasure and honor to be here today. And the topic I'll be presenting is cleansing your temple. That's detoxification and herbal cleansing using African herbs, the ancestral way. So it's a pleasure for me to be here, everyone, once again. Well, my topic, I have a broad knowledge of herbs, and like pharmacy before me, I actually own my farm where I grow my own food, and I also grow the herbs that I use for my products. I make products, I have various products. I have teas, I make capsules, I make herbal salves, I make tinctures, etc., etc. And I control the whole value chain from growing the herbs, processing or harvesting, processing to packaging and getting it right to you. So you can depend on the quality of the products that you get from me, because they pass through very few hands, and you're talking about within 24, 40-hour turnaround from harvesting to packaging. So the herbs are very potent, and they've helped a lot of people, and they continue to help people all over the world. The reason I've chosen this topic is that the two main causes, in fact, the impact of global health has really, we've seen the impact of the dwindling global health, should I say, in present times. And what's different? What's happening now that didn't happen years before, during our ancestors' times? And there's two things that I can lay a finger on, and that's toxicity and deficiency. When we talk about toxicity, we're talking about impact of microplastics, heavy metals in water, in the air, in the food we eat. We're talking about parasites in most of the food. We're talking about overprocessing of foods for us to consume, and so on and so forth, which most of it wasn't there over 120, 150 years ago. 150 years ago, there were no plastics, there were no weedicides, there were no pesticides. There was nothing like that on this earth. Most of these are man-made from the petrochemical industry that has impacted us. So how did our ancestors live? How were they before? Were they able to live over 100 in most cases? Well, they live very simple lives. They go to the farms, they grow their foods organically, they come back, they prepare a small meal. Within those meals, you have lots of medicinal herbs, naturally found in the meals. And they consumed these herbs with very little toxicity because they didn't use any type of chemicals. They grew organically and they ate organically. But what else did they do? They also, in addition, had these tonics, made from roots and barks and other herbs that they used to boost and enhance their immune systems regularly amongst the family. They also perform things like enemas, regular enemas, just over 100 years ago. I mean, some still do. The question is, why, knowing that they were growing food, healthy organic food, they were eating, living healthy lifestyles and all of that, why did they still have the presence of mind to want to detoxify themselves? So if they did, and knowing that they're consuming things which may hurt them, and they still detoxify themselves back then, when there were nowhere near the amount of toxins we have present day, how much more today? What are we doing? What are we doing to our temples? Our temples, is because of our temples that we're all present here today. We take care of our homes, we take care of our vehicles, we service our vehicles, we service them regularly. We clean our rooms, our homes, we paint our homes, we buy new clothes. We care about everything outside, but what about inside? What about our engines, our temple that is making us being able to exist today? We just carry on as if we can just consume, process, and that's it, keep going. But that's not what's going on. The over-accumulation of toxins in this present day world is what is causing disease at such a scale, lifestyle choices. So it has become necessary for one to detox, and not just detox regularly, because it's much harder today to be healthy than it's not. It is, once again, it is much harder to be healthy today than ever. Knowing that and having that in mind, how often are we detoxifying ourselves? We need to do this regularly. And I'll go through the process shortly. The other cause of disease, like I said, is deficiency. So you may be eating all healthy products. You may be eating your spinach, your kale, all your greens, your fruits, etc. However, you're not getting the required nutrition that you seek. Our body needs nutrition. That's it. We need all these minerals, over 100, 110 types of different minerals in specific quantities for all our bodily functions to perform. You need your iron, your magnesium, manganese, potassium, calcium. You need your vitamins, A, B, C to K. You need your amino acids, your essential, non-essential amino acids. You need your fatty oils, omega-3, 6, 9, to function. So if you could fit everything in a small bottle or small glass, and that's all you consume every day, those minerals in their purest form, you would not need to eat. If you could fit all the nutrition you needed in the most purest forms in the glass, you don't need to eat. We don't have that nutrition in its purest forms available to us. So we go to food to seek that nutrition. We look for nutrients within food. So knowing very well that the purpose of eating is to seek nutrition, then one must make sure that the nutrition you're seeking through food is of the highest quality, so the best you can get. Seeking nutrition through something as overprocessed as cheese is actually going to cause you a lot more damage than you want. I mean, it's rather reversing, because your body has to break that down, and it's not going to break it down once. Cheese you ate last year is still in your colon, hasn't fully digested. Meat is still carcass in our colons, hasn't fully digested. And it lay bits, when you chew meat or chew chicken, for example, you just keep chewing, all the flavor comes out, and in the end, you go, you just swallow whatever is left, okay? Our teeth just shred it, it doesn't digest it. Different from when you're having a potato, you can feel the potato kind of melt, dissolve in your mouth before it goes through. But that doesn't happen with animal products. So what you just swallowed is going to rest somewhere in your colon and create an environment for parasites to come. Let's say, for example, your home or your apartment that you live in, you never took out the trash. You have rooms full of trash all the time. So what's going to happen? You're going to have the flies coming in, the ants coming in. You're going to have the smell, obviously, and then the roaches are going to come in. You know, everybody's going to say, "Hey, everybody, we have all the pests are going to say, "Hey, we have a party going on. We have a perfect environment for us to come. Everybody come along." So they're all going to come along because you've created that environment in your home for them to come and feast. You know, you've got the rats also coming in because you've got food around for them. This is what they want. So if you have a clean home, you're going to avoid these pests and these parasites. The same in your gut, the same in your colon. Bits of undigested food that you're not supposed to be eating, consuming, is just sitting right there, making us bloated, causing all kinds of issues and diseases amongst us. You know, the parasites, the hookworm, the pinworm, everything. They're going to come and, live in there, the tapeworm, because guess what? You have the perfect environment. It's nice, warm, cozy, and what they excrete, the toxins, is what causes us to be sick. So once we're not constantly cleansing, we're building a home for these parasites within our system, and we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker all the time. Deficiency comes from when you're consuming what you feel is nutrition, but you're not getting the nutrition you need. So like I said, you may be having kale, spinach, etc., but where is it grown? Where is it sourced from? The source of food is so important now. He who feeds you controls you. The best way you can get your food is to grow it yourself, just like pharmacy and many others are doing. But in the absence of that, you need to connect with someone who's doing it to get your food. You need to break away from the system and grow and source your own food. You need to be able to process your food from scratch, knowing exactly what you're getting. Because most products are some are even grown aquaponically. You don't even know if the spinach is tapping into an iron-rich soil. It could be grown in any kind of soil with fertilizers and whatever, and you're eating spinach, but you're still getting sick. So it's very important, the source of your food. Deficiency is causing a lot of sickness. If you're deficient in iron, you get anemia. A lot of people are anemic. They wake up feeling lethargic, brain fog, breathless. You wake up too quickly, you get dizzy, etc. It's because you're anemic. You might be having 2-3 meals a day, but you're not getting the nutrition that you need. So it's very, very important, the source of your food, the nutrition. Extremely important. You need to break away from the system and grow your own food if you can. So how does this all fit in with ancestral ways? Well, growing up in Ghana, in the Volta region, we have herbalists run within our families, within most families actually, because like I said, over 120 years ago, there were no hospitals, there were no medical facilities, there was nothing like that. There was just herbalists all over, and we mainly practice within families. Or you go get your herbs from your neighbors, or then you go to the herbalist shop and get your herbs. But we all knew a certain level of herbs. So I learned from, renowned herbalists, most of them 100 years plus, who lived in very, very remote areas. You have to go live in a village, live with them for a few weeks to months, take note and learn from them, because a lot of this knowledge is oral knowledge that they impart into us. And what I found was that one thing that they always did was, as part of healing, they always had to cleanse. You can't expect to get healthy in the same environment you got sick. You cannot expect to get healthy in the same environment you got sick. You need to cleanse. Because it's something, your habits have brought you to where you are presently. And if you want to get a different result, you need to change your habits. You need to cleanse. Now, cleansing can be done various ways. It is said that when you fast for 3 days, your immune system regenerates. Now, there's some truth in that, because if you've ever been seriously ill, or you know someone who's been seriously ill, the last thing you want to do is what? Consume food. Your body is telling you that it's not hungry, no matter what they try and do. Go and have some soup. Go and have some soup. It's going to make you feel better. You don't fancy food. The body automatically goes into fasting mode. So that's the best way to regenerate your immune system within 3 days. What I've done is that I've developed a 30-day detox and herbal cleanse plan, which is a raw food cleanse. Why raw food? Because it's received the less amount of processing as possible. We want to eat food straight from the source, food that is not cooked, overcooked, that all the enzymes are killed, or all the, you don't want to eat dead food. We need life, so we need to eat live food. Raw food is live food. So when you're cleansing, you want to stop what's going in here and focus on what's happening here. Because most of the time you have 2-3 meals a day, breaking fast. You break fast with something very complex. Let's say if you're in UK, if you're in London, let's say you have an English breakfast, bacon, sausage, eggs, all that fat. Imagine breaking fast with that when you're just coming from a detox mode. But you consume that. So your body is saying, okay, I wanted some really good nutrition now. Now I've got some tough work to do. Okay, let's go to work. So the detox process stops here and it starts processing what's the incoming. Guess what? Before you know, it's lunchtime. So whilst it's still trying to process what you've consumed, another load comes in again and it has to stop, park that somewhere in your colon. Let's process this as well. Then dinner comes. So you're never getting a chance to break your food down properly, digest your food properly, consume whatever, absorb whatever little nutrition you have in that food. And your colon is always overworked and it keeps, piling up stuff. So if you want to start cleansing and want to get rid of what has been piled up here for many, many years, you need to stop or reduce or limit what is going through here. And whatever goes through has to be of the best, purest quality you can get. So we put you on, raw food, juices, smoothies. You have superfood powders, stuff like, baobab powder, powerful powder. You have stuff like moringa powder from the moringa tree. You can Google these powders and learn the nutrient profile, but these are some of the most powerful superfoods you can get with all vitamins, minerals in ridiculous amounts. Whatever's going through, it has to be of the best. So you'll put on these type of superfood powders whilst you're consuming coconut water, fresh fruits, lemons, melons, apples, organically sourced. This way, your body is loving you because you're not giving it too much work to do, but it's getting exactly what it needs from what you're giving it. And whilst that is happening, it's now taking time to break down and process what's in here. And it's over a 30-day period. At the same time, you're consuming very powerful herbs to detox your kidney, your liver, your pancreas, your gallbladder, break any stones you have in your kidney, in your gallbladder, and cleanse your colon. Because after a few weeks of doing this, the layers start to peel away within your intestinal walls, the layers of dead food, of dead feces. At any one time, we're carrying between 2 to 5 kilograms of dead food within our gut. Between 2 to 5 kilos of dead food in our gut, just sitting there. So taking a break from eating junk allows your body to get rid of this. And as you're getting rid of this, you're absorbing food much better. You have this within your intestinal walls, you have this villi, which are this finger-like things through which the food gets absorbed through. So when it's all clogged up, you're not absorbing food as you should. But as you start to clear it out, you start to absorb food much better. And guess what? What you're feeding yourself is of the highest quality. So you're really getting exactly what you want. You don't need to eat much in order to get full when you start cleansing. It may feel like, oh, hang on, I'm only eating raw food. I'm going to get hungry. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to get this. But when you start the cleanse and you get into the cleanse and your body starts absorbing the superfoods you're giving it, you start to need less and less food. And it makes you think about the concept of eating. Why do we eat? Why do we need food? And that will bring you back to the fact that it's just purely for nutrition. It's not for pleasure. It's not how good it tastes. It's not how great it smells. It's just to get nutrition. Just like you putting fuel in your car to drive it from A to B, that's it. Your bodily functions needs a certain chemical balance to perform. Your hormones need a certain chemical balance to perform. The foods, the minerals and nutrients from the food we eat allows these functions to take place. So that is why it's very important to make sure you give yourself a break every now and then in cleanse. So what we do here is the 30-day cleanse, which I've just run through for you. And we have so many different herbs that we give you that's incorporated with the cleanse, detoxing the body and cleansing. And it is very important that we do this more often than we are now, if we are even at all, because of what we're being bombarded with. We're at war. Whether you like it or not, we're at war. And what I mean by that is, like what I said in the beginning, it is harder to stay healthy than ever before. You need to really go and search for healthy, clean food, organic food. It's very difficult to find. Even those in the shops, they've been adulterated in one way or the other. You just cannot be sure of it unless you're putting that seed in the ground and nurturing it to your table. So this is what my main segment is about today, the importance of detoxification and cleansing. And like I said, what I learned from my ancestors and from these herbalists who have learned from the ancestors is that in order to start healing, one must cleanse. So to cleanse, you need to lubricate your stomach. I use coconut oil on day one of the cleanse. You drink this coconut oil and it purges you. People use castor oil, and there are other herbs which can allow you to do that. But you need to just take some time and just start the first day and purge yourself. And then bring in healthy superfoods to nourish your body whilst the detoxification is taking place. So once again, we have the segment on detoxing and cleansing using African herbs. Now, some of the herbs that we use, I actually grow all of this. I have a few herbs here. I have some time to show some of you. And also, one thing about cleansing, it's not just about internal cleansing. It's about external cleansing. It's about spiritual cleansing, because we have a lot of I won't call them demons, but it's important for one to cleanse spiritually. There's a lot of bad energy around. There's a lot of bad energy in general. And some of the herbs, I'm going to show you quickly some herbs that you can use to cleanse spiritually that you may find in the location where you are. Very powerful one, which pharmacy, I believe, sells. This is actually the butterfly pea vine, okay? Clitoria tenata. We have some flowers on here. This, in the Ewe culture from the Volta region, is called azaku, and it's very powerful. It's a back to sender herb, which reverses any kind of bad energy or evil. And you bathe with this herb. You have it in your water. You say your incantations, whatever you need from your cleansing, and you fetch this water and you cleanse yourself. And you let it dry naturally. You don't wipe yourself. You let it dry naturally. Yes, you can just use the flowers. Somebody is asking. You also have, this is the boundary tree, or it's called Nubodio leaves. It comes in various forms, but it's mainly found in Africa. So I'll skip to one herb which may be a bit familiar to you all. This is Tulsi. Once again, pharmacy mentioned it. Tulsi or holy basil, a powerful herb that one can bathe with for spiritual cleanse. And you can combine these herbs for bathing. You have one that I've been talking about a lot, cerasee or Momodica charantia. It's an old one. You have a bitter gourd with these green or yellow gourds on it. In a lot of African tradition, Ghanaian tradition, when we're doing going for spiritual rituals, this herb, you find it around the necks of the priest to ward off evil. That is the cerasee or bitter melon or Momodica charantia. It's great for kidney and liver health. Amazing. If you're diabetic as well, you can use the tea. It's a very powerful herb. That's a cerasee herb, bitter tea. And it's also good for parasite cleanses. Great there. And that's about it. You know, I have a few more, but I'm just wary of the time. So cleansing is important in both the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And it's something that we have to do all the time. So I'm wary of the time now, and I'd like to break now for some Q&As, questions and answers. So please feel free to fire them over, and I'll do my best to answer them.
We do. Thank you, Togbe. We do have about 15 minutes, so you can speak on the herbs for 5 more minutes, and then we can go into Q&A. And for those of you who have questions, you can put your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. I actually want to learn more about the herbs too. I was loving seeing the herbs in their natural form. So you can continue to share for about 5 more minutes on herbs if you have any more, and then we'll go directly into Q&A. And for those of you who have questions, we will get them out of the Q&A chat.
Sure. So, okay, here we go. I've got some mushrooms here. Now, most of these herbs, if not all of them, were harvested from my farm. I grow all of them. I grow the holy basil, I grow the butterfly pea, I grow the cerasee, etc., etc. This is also from my farm. This is actually what a turkey tail mushroom looks like. It's like a piece of wood. It's dried, mushroom. And we have this. It's a powerful adaptogen, and it's also great for breast cancer. It helps very much with treating breast cancer. It's a very powerful herbs. I have this in tincture form, and it's part of my pack for cleansing. And its sister mushroom here is the reishi mushroom, the mushroom of immortality, a very highly renowned herb from traditional Chinese medicine. Also very popular here. For those of you who haven't seen a baobab, so baobab is one of the highest sources of vitamin C. I was just showing you as a superfood here. This is a baobab pod. This is what it looks like this is a cracked one because I've broken it. This is what it looks like hanging off the trees. And the powder is actually made from the seeds. It's a coating around the seeds, and that's how we get the powders. Okay. And it's natural. There's no processing. The powder you find here is directly from here. That's the least amount of processing you get. You're getting it straight from the pod. So this is how you want to eat, with very little processing whatsoever. Natural products, very high in vitamin C and very powerful. These are what we should be consuming, these plants and herbs. I have many products, like I said. I have herbal salves. This is something that with shea butter, made with shea butter, coconut oil, neem oil, moringa oil, baobab oil, and infused. Most of these herbs that I've shown are infused in this balm. It's great for pain. It's great for most topical insect bites, all of that. I have capsules, vervain, blue vervain, great for antiparasitic for your hormones as well. We have tons of stuff in Africa. I mean, we sometimes people talk about Dr. Sebi and Dr. Sebi's list. Okay. Now, Dr. Sebi lived in South America, and I always say that the map is not a territory. He drew a map of what he found within where he lived, and those herbs that he researched is what he put on his list. And as you know, most of them are Spanish names anyway. because of his environment. However, if Dr. Sebi lived in Africa, in Ghana, his list would be infinite because we have such a plethora of fauna and flora. And we're nowhere near knowing, 1 millionth of what we have in terms of plants and plant medicine, because there is so much out there. So one should not just focus on, Dr. Sebi's list is a guide. It's a great guide for, getting into herbalism, trying to find a way. But there's so many alkaline herbs, so many powerful herbs and out there. So let's educate ourselves past Dr. Sebi and learn more about herbs. And this conference is actually a great way to do that. So once again, if you want to find out about my detox, my 30-day detox, you can, when the bundle becomes available, I have a whole write-up of it in there. You can, I'm sure April will let us know when it's time. And you can tap into all the information plus more that we've just discussed on here today. My links are there, my Instagram, etc. It's all available there for you guys to tap in for more. So I think we can now go to we have about 60 questions out.
Yeah, so I'm going through the questions right now, and I'm trying to move some of the questions over from earlier when the chat was disabled. So I will go ahead and read the questions off to you to make it easier for you. And also in the chat, we've been getting some requests to enable transcriptions. We do have some deaf or hard of hearing people that are joining us. Just know we are working on that in the background. We are trying to make this conference as accessible as possible. So we're working on that. Hopefully by the second session after lunch, that will be enabled for anyone who has difficulties hearing the conference. So I'm going to scroll down. I think it's best if I start down, then go up. First of all, thank you, Togbe, for all of that amazing information on detoxing with African herbs. I forgot to even do an introduction for Togbe, but he is an herbalist located in Ghana. He's actually going to be a part of my Indigenous Herbal Retreat to Ghana, and he has a farm over in Ghana. How big is your farm, Togbe?
It's 16 acres, and I'm currently preparing it to receive you and your group. And also from next year, we're gonna be having a lot more retreats on the.
So when we go over to Ghana with our group, I'm taking a group of 12 beautiful souls to Ghana. If you actually want to join, we do have about 1 or 2 spots that recently opened up. If you want to join us on our retreat over to Ghana, please reach out to me. Please email me at beautyherbsandtea@gmail.com. We have about 1 slot, maybe 2. That slot may have been taken already that opened up to this retreat. The retreat is December 2nd through the 7th. I have about 1 more slot. We'll be going over to Ghana, visiting Togbe's farm, seeing the herbs in person. We will also be hiking through the forest for herbs, as well as we're going to do some spiritual bathing with the herbs as well. So we're going to have a full experience. Send me an email if you're interested, December 2nd through 7th of this year. So let's get into some questions. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Samantha is an interpreter. Samantha, can you email me if I don't know how to bring, I guess I would have to make you a panelist to bring the interpreter on, but we'll work it out. We'll work it out so that the second half, we will have that accessible for anyone who's deaf or hard of hearing. Again, my email is beautyherbsandtea@gmail.com. So let's get to the questions. We have about 7 minutes before we bring our next person on. Alexis says, I've seen that beneficial bacteria feed on the material in our guts to help process vitamins like vitamin B. What is a good amount of time to let things be used in the gut by beneficial bacteria? Togbe?
I need to get that question well. Good enough time in respect to what? In relative to what, really?
Not sure what they're answering. If you have, Alexis, can you re-add your question to the chat to clarify? We'll go on to the next question. Okay. So an anonymous person would like to know if you've heard of anyone using herbs for things like HIV. I know the answer to that. I've actually seen herbs in Africa that has been used for HIV. So can you speak on any herbs, or have you heard of this?
Well, absolutely. I have HIV as one of my protocols to treat, and this powerful herb. You see, HIV is a virus, okay, and viruses can be cured at the end of the day with the right herbs. So it's not incurable. I mean, it attacks your immune system. So one needs to give it something really strong, really powerful in order to treat it with something strong and powerful. Now, on the onset of COVID, the Madagascan president or prime minister started treating his people with this herb called Artemisia annua. Artemisia. This is Artemisia. Okay. Artemisia is also known as wormwood. So I also use this, or sweet wormwood. I use this as a parasite cleanse. Now, we use this. Malaria is in the tropics, we have mosquitoes everywhere. So the number one treatment for malaria is Artemisia combination therapy. So all the malaria treatments, you have Coartem, artesunate, anything with ART in it has artemisinin, which is an extract from the Artemisia plant. Now, obviously, Big Pharma, up to the usual tricks, they will not offer the whole plant because they can't patent it. So they extract the artemisinin from the plant, just like CBD from cannabis, and use it in combination with another product, or in order to provide treatment for malaria. So in terms of HIV, okay, the HIV we use as an antiretroviral, Artemisia. It's very, very powerful. So if you suffer from HIV, go and get Artemisia, try it and let us know how it works for you.
All right,
Very, very powerful.
we can take two more questions before we end, and we have a lot of questions for you, Togbe. So maybe you can come back at one of the VIP networking sessions and answer the rest of the questions. But there's questions pertaining to cleansing. So the first question is, how do you cleanse? To cleanse, do you cook with the herbs? Do you drink them once a day? How can you explain more about the cleansing very briefly, because we have 4 minutes before we bring on the next person? And then how often should one cleanse or do the 30-day cleanse?
Well, once you cleanse, 30-day cleanse, I do it 2-3 times a year. But, that's very drastic. So one should be cleansing, even not eating for 1 or 2 days, you're cleansing, okay? Try and limit the amount of food you put in your body. And that in itself is cleansing. And just consuming, when you give your colon a rest in terms of what you put into it, it then breathes, takes time and works down here. But we keep giving it work all the time here. So it doesn't get the time to do what it's supposed to. So cleansing is just abstinence from consuming foods for a period of time. And you can do this as often as you wish, once a week, once a month, once a quarter, for extended periods. You can and test yourself, start with a couple of days, knowing that you have the food there to eat whenever you want. Test your discipline. Cleansing is also a test of discipline, because the more disciplined you are, the much longer you can go cleansing for and abstaining from food, detoxing. So you just need to be disciplined and just know that, okay, look, I've got all that food that I've been eating for the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? It's there, it's always there. Now I'm going to do something different for a few days. I'm going to test myself to see how long I can go for, just drinking some teas, drinking some tinctures, having some herbs, even having enemas. Coffee enema is a great way to cleanse. Having a coffee enema is a fantastic way to cleanse. Doing parasite cleansing, taking activated charcoal for heavy metal cleansing. There's so many different types of cleansing, and you don't have to stop to do a cleanse. You can be doing a different type of cleanse every day. So I don't want to go into too much because of the time. So that's as much as I can say for now. Should we take one more question before we move on, April?
Yes, one more question. We have about 2 more minutes.
Sure.
So let's take one more question. Let's see. So people have herbs that are questions surrounding around herbs for specific things. And unfortunately, it's really hard to recommend specific herbs in general, just because as herbalists, we like to consider the whole person, and what herb may work for you may not work for herbs with other people. Just keep that in mind. So as herbalists, we do need to have consultations. We do need to speak with you
Absolutely.
to challenges
Absolutely.
are, instead of just saying, take this one herb, because guess what? You may have a herb that has a contraindication with, an issue you have going on, and that herb may not work for you. So just know that this conference may be less of, I have this issue with herb to take from this or for this, but we will recommend more general herbs for general knowledge. And so that is all the time that we have today. Again, we will try to get to the questions in the VIP networking session. We're going to go ahead and drop Togbe's links right now on how
Thank
to
you so much.
out to him. That is coming to you in about 30 seconds. So if you all are interested in a consultation with him, that link is being dropped. If you're interested in learning more about his herbs, that link is being dropped, as well as the bundle, which will be released after the conference on October 30th. He has a whole ebook on detoxing with African herbs, as well as how to detox, how to prepare, all of that. So make sure to purchase the bundle. You are learning about it first. It will be released October 30th. It has over 25 courses and ebooks from people who are speaking at the conference, as well as other BIPOC contributors. Thank you so much, Togbe, for joining us today. Thank you on that amazing session. Thank you. And if you have time, you can join any of the VIP sessions to answer more questions. But thank you again. I will reach out to you via text afterwards. But thank you. Much gratitude.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
All right. So